everybody. Today we're going to be working on some indoor and or outdoor holiday live green decorations. We have a mix of products and supplies that we use for our outside decorating, which I'm going to do an outside door swag today. But also these greens can be used indoors. It gives a nice accent and also gives you that green pine scent throughout the home. I'm going to first go through the supplies that I like to use, or the greens that I have available. Also, some people call it greenery, but the live greens that we supply or use for our workshop and for our projects. There's Concolor fir, a little bit coarser. It's a soft needle, but a little bit thicker. Has a nice green-gray tint to it. Another one that's great to use is the Fraser fir. Fraser fir is used in many Christmas trees because it lasts the longest, doesn't have needle shed, along with the Concolor. They don't shed their needles as quickly, but it's a nice accent, has a little bit more blue color. One of my favorites is the white pine. Softer look, you get a little bit more length to it and some drape, so it kind of is a nice contrast to some of the coarser needled evergreens. Cedar is a wonderful one to use. Gives a little, again, a contrast in the foliage to what the shape of these other greens are. A nice one is the berried juniper. If you can see those nice berries on there and a grayish color, gives again a nice accent with a little bit of a different scent to the mix that you're doing. Another one of my favorites is boxwood. Boxwood is great to use. It retains itself really nicely and gives a glossy oval leaf look to it. Again, a nice contrast to some of the needled evergreens that we have. Like I said, today we will be doing a door swag, and this will hang over top of the door, or it could be laid as a centerpiece or over a mantle. So there's many options for this type. This is going to end up being over 36 inches, probably closer to 4 feet in length. So depending on your door will depend on how tightly you put these things together. If you only have a standard door, you could go to the 36. If you have a larger door, you can move these in and out, and it's just the way you tie them together. Some of the other supplies that you will need for this project is some green wire, some thicker ones to do around, or most wire you can tighten really well. Some people have used zip ties just to get your base tied together. I like the wire because it seems to get a better grip and a hold, and I can get a hold of it better. You might need some snips and pruners to get through the branches. The nice thing about this product is if you do have some evergreens on your property, or know people who have, you can get a lot of this just out in nature and prune and thin some of those shrubs and bushes. Yet also at this time of year, late November all through December, you can get the greens at local nurseries and garden centers and some of your home improvement stores. So first thing today, we're going to use the Concolor, and I've taken two similar branches and we're going to connect them. This one has a little bit longer stem, which is great for being able to attach the other stem. Like I said, I'm going for just a little bit over 4 foot. What I like to do is I like to lay them down and then decide what I'm going to accent with. So, excuse me, a little white pine laid here, and then we'll do another branch or two of that laid there, kind of covering each other. Again, that nice little bit of contrast, filling out our space with to cover up some of the branchings and make a nice full look around the edges. Then a little bit of cedar is, again, like I said, I use it as a contrast. I sometimes flip it over so that the more yellow, lighter green, greenish yellow shows through. And then, as always, again, because it's a nice accent, you can do some boxwood, either even underneath, to add that little bit of contrasting foliage too. Again, I always think less is more. You can always just do as much of this as you want. That's the greatest thing about creating it yourself, is you do not have to follow any set standards. You just want to get a nice mix of greens. The cool thing is there's even some little pine cone like on that cedar there. Gives a little bit of more naturalized look. So now that I've kind of got this laid out how I want, I'll lift it up here and you can kind of start getting a visual of what it may or may not look like. Just to give you some guidelines. Also, it could be reversed. It just depends on how you want it to lay or sit. So now that I kind of have my elements of what I'm going to add, we're going to start putting it together. Like I said, you want a nice strong base. So we're going to wire or zip tie. Zip ties are probably a little bit more convenient for this. They will not show underneath, yet I'm going to also do some wiring. I'm going to get started with the zip ties, but I'm going to do some wiring because I can wrap it and get a stronger cinched tight fit. But just to hold these two pieces together, a little zip tie here, and then we'll give a snip and then move on with wiring some of it together on the ends. Again, you could crisscross, and then I like to tighten down and move forward from there. And we're going to leave this open so we can grab some of those other things, and I'll do one more wire kind of halfway through there, and it can grab some of our other greens as we go. Next is the white pine, some bigger branches below. That a little length, you can put it out as far as you want along there, and then let's add in the loose greens to fill some of the space that the concolor might not have. And again, it's just laying it, moving it around, placing it where you think it's going to look best once it's hung on the door or laid down, or on the mantle or whatnot there. So again, we have our wire that's just here for us, so we're going to cinch that down. Pull those forward, cinch it down. 1, 2. Let's find this one. That's always the fun thing with green wire, is finding it amongst the greens. So cinch down. Now it may look like that center is going to be very narrow, but trust me, once you get the bow and any other decorations on it that you like, it will, quite frankly, disappear, and you won't even, it'll be nice and full. So now we're going to add our boxwood. That one was a little bit long. I'm going to take that one out of the mix here. And again, finding our wire. And you could add or take away any of the wire that you think you don't need, or if it's up too high, you move it down. Biggest thing is having it hold these tightly as you put it together. Now, accenting wise, some people may not even put anything on it besides a nice bow, and depending on where it's going, if you have a themed coloring in the house, you would, certainly add those. If it's a red and white look, or blues or silvers or golds, certainly don't hesitate to add those colors to this. So now that all of our greens are down, and that's not the end of our wiring, because again, if this is going to be outside, you certainly want to secure it heavily, and then also we have to add a hook so that we can be able to hang it up. With a swag like this, sometimes 2 hooks is nice if it is going over a doorway, because then you can have it lay right, but it just depends on where it is going. And I'm going to flip this over and secure this wire to the back on our base of con color. Okay, so finished product here, after I tighten that down, is your door swag, or like I said, a mantle, centerpiece or mantelpiece. That way, this could be a centerpiece and you could take some candlesticks and add along it that way. So our next would be to add our bow, and I want to flip it around so I'm facing out. Today I just have a red plaid bow. Now this is a little long, yet why I did the longer feature is because if you did just a basic bow, again the bow is just wired that way. Bows you can go to the home stores and things like that. It's not so much a hardware store, but home stores, and you can make your bows, Joann Fabrics and Michaels. Now the neat thing is with the longer is you can add and have all these tails that you would want to that. But if you were just doing it in the house, this could again lay as your runner in the center of, and you could just tuck this into different spots. We're going to do a little of that, but then also all different sorts of anything can be usable. We have some gold stars that we're going to add so that as it's outside, it will attract a little attention that way as people approach. And you can do a group of 3. You could do some just individual ones here and there. I'm going to do a grouping of 3 just on the ends, just to add a couple. One thing to always think about is elements of design are always 3s, 5s, and things like that. So it kind of just always gives you a nice contrast, excuse me. Wire that together, add it on. Again, you can get as fancy as you want. You can get as simple as you want. Pine cones are always a nice accent to this naturalized look. Just always kind of keep with a theme. Keep it somewhat simple so that you don't look, it doesn't get too much. You know, snowman theme, so it lasts you all season. Any colors that you want is really what you have. So there you have it. There is, let's just put this one on here, and we will have a door swag that can be used, or a swag, I guess, a long swag that can be used as an accent or as a main feature on your mantle. And again, this is very simple, nothing much added. We'll get those straightened out. But there would be your look for your door swag. Again, you could add some more glitz, but just simply, just a few ideas of what you could do. You have a great, happy holidays. Come back soon, see what else we have going at Naturally Jody. Thank you and happy holidays.